ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Burke Smith and his vision for change.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Burke Smith. StraighterLine is an online education company based in Baltimore that I founded in 2008. We were a very early advocate for and provider of alternative credit pathways. We offer online general education courses, just gen ed, we have about 60 of them, for $99 per month. We are not a college. Indeed, we're not allowed to be accredited. Instead, we have agreements with colleges so we can guarantee credit transfer from us to them. We have about 100 colleges with whom we have agreements. Another 1,000 or so have been identified by our students as awarding credit for our courses. For students, we are a low-cost, low-risk pathway to starting college. For college is a way to attract students and a place to send students that the college has lost engagement with. Now, that's what we do. Possibly more interesting is why we do it and what that says about the market for higher education. So all of you have seen some version of this narrative. Tuition has risen 4 times the rate of inflation over the past 30 years. Median family asset value has dropped by 1/3 in the last 10. A degree is more important than ever before. So that creates kind of a pickle for Americans. If something is more necessary, more expensive, and you have less ability to pay, the result is $1.3 trillion of student debt. That's the bad news. The good news is that students, like good consumers, are starting to look for alternatives, and they're starting to find them. They're not finding them from accredited colleges, and they're doing that in large part because colleges have not, for the most part, adapted to the realities of digital economics. Let's see, there we go. This statistic always blows my mind. It's probably the best example of why we exist. And I say this statistic a lot, but 93% of colleges charge the same or more for online courses than for face-to-face, which is really weird because online courses have none of the physical infrastructure of a face-to-face course. Moreover, the cost of, or the price of online courses are going up while the cost of delivery is declining. And so software, content, bandwidth, all those prices have dropped over the last 15 years. Even labor, as colleges use more and more adjuncts, has dropped. Yet prices continue to rise and the cost of delivery falls. So if you do a back-of-the-envelope calculation, let's say a college pays an adjunct professor $3,000. That's more than the national average. They teach 30 students. That's $100 a student. Add maybe $50 of overhead. That's about a $150 course. Colleges get between $1,000 and $3,000 at $150 course when you add in tuition, fees, and state support. So colleges, all colleges, nonprofit, public, for-profit, all colleges are making substantial profits on online courses. Now this is really great for colleges. It's not that great for students. Herb Stein was an economic advisor to 2 presidents. He coined what's called Stein's Law, which says if something can't go on forever, it will stop. And it's kind of what we are seeing now in higher education, is that colleges cannot continue to make 10x the price of, or charge 10x the cost of delivery for courses. Prices cannot continue to rise as the cost of delivery falls. In a better functioning market, new providers would come in, price courses much closer to the cost of delivery, and the market would reset. Higher education is not a well-functioning market. The massive public subsidies tied to a fairly insulated accreditation process make it very difficult for new providers to come in. So what's happened is we've seen kind of a parallel market, or an unregulated, or a gray, or a black market, call it what you will. We're seeing a new market around higher education emerge. We started in 2008, and we were pretty heretical. This idea that a for-profit non-college could offer online courses for credit at 1/10 the price of colleges was pretty nuts. However, the MOOC moment happened in 2012, and suddenly maybe it wasn't quite so crazy. More came in shortly thereafter, along with enormous amounts of private financing and public and foundation money. And it's not just online. Boot camps have figured out great ways, or much better ways, to place students in high-impact industries than colleges are currently doing. Now, this is weird. Students are basically foregoing all of their public subsidies that would be due to them if they went to an accredited college to find a better deal. They're voting with their wallets and creating this market that arguably is more vibrant and growing faster than traditional colleges, where enrollment is fairly stagnant. Many of you might remember the cartoon from the New Yorker in the early 90s, "You don't have to be a dog," or rather, "No one knows you're a dog on the internet." Well, it's kind of the same with colleges. Online, you don't need to be a college to offer a college course. And yes, this does create some market confusion in the near term. What's a legitimate credential? Who counts it? What does it mean? But over the long term, it creates a wide range of price points and educational structures that can help us fix some of the bigger problems that we have in higher education. One of the biggest is the risk associated with starting college. With completion rates as low as they are, it is a big risk for a student to start college, both for the student and for taxpayers. If they end up with no degree and significant debt, that's a terrible outcome. With low cost and free courses available that count for credit prior to entry, students can get a pretty good sense of whether they are ready, both academically and emotionally, and with whatever grit they need to ultimately persist to a degree. And in fact, we are seeing that with many of the colleges with whom we work, that students that start with us bring credit to colleges are much more likely to persist than those who don't. So the point is that we can solve some of our big problems in higher education, but we can't do it by doing the same things we've always done. Higher education must be considered to be a post-secondary market as opposed to an accredited college market. And if we do that, we'll be able to provide solutions that fit students' needs much better than we're doing now. Thank you very much.